So before I get into this one, I'll talk about just really how to overcome like negative comments, because I was just dealing with something like that this morning with this like older guy who was commenting on one of my Facebook posts. And so I'll just kind of talk my way through the process. It was like, and how to kind of overcome that or respond in a way that kind of maintains your strength. It doesn't make you basically just like go along with him making fun of you or start making fun of yourself or putting yourself down. Because that really is important to navigate, and really especially on something like Facebook, it really shapes the people's perception of you. So it's really important to know and understand how to respond in these situations. So the post I did, it was just like a shared memory that came up from 4 years ago. It was from like a track accomplishment. It was me, picture of me and my coach. And I just put on like the title, Such a Great Coach. And the guy was commenting on, he's like, you look high or something like, he's like, you look high, and then high on the high on the competition or whatever. It's like, but he was commenting on like insinuating that I was doing drugs or I was on like smoking pot because I had long hair. And so it was like my initial reaction was, okay, like how do I respond to that? I obviously recognized it was directed at, he was focusing on my long hair, not just me with my coach and, and the accomplishment or like the, or track and field, So I initially was like, okay, do I say like joke around with him? Do I say like, oh, smoke in the competition or something like that? And it was like, well, no, if I do that, I'm just basically allowing and tolerating somebody to kind of just like come in and then just have these negative comments towards like just made up things like I'm smoking pot or whatever, when the focus is on my coach, really. Um, and so I was like, well, no, I shouldn't respond that way. So what I did was I thought back to, I've got a product is like, what you'll find is like responding to these negative comments really translate over to really passing her negative comments or her test. And so I've got a product that's called How to Respond When She's Being a Bitch. Um, it's just a really short product, couple pages, but it's just like it outlines kind of the categories on how to respond. And one of those is really owning your situation. So that's one of the best ways to pass her negative comments or pass really anyone's negative comments. So I decided on that one. So I was like, I use that product, and you can get it in the description below. It's just something you can kind of relate back to and kind of check yourself. So if you're ever in a situation where you're thinking like, oh, what do I say, or how do I really handle this, especially when it's like an emotional thing, like somebody tries to bring you down, it's just a good guide to have and a reference point to kind of keep you centered. And so I said, yeah, it took a lot of work. That was my response. So I just like owned that, in relation to his saying like high on the podium or high on the competition or whatever he said. Um, and so I didn't joke with him. I didn't allow him to basically laugh at my long hair. And I just said, hey, this actually took a lot of work. And what are you gonna knock me for working hard? So it's like, no, it's like the emotional reaction to that, and his emotional reaction was he talked about his granddaughter being successful as a long distance runner, and went off about that, like this huge long thing. And then I was just like, that's distance is a really big mental test, and that's awesome. She's doing great. And that was the end of the conversation. It wasn't like I didn't put myself down and I just kind of maintained it, but it was just understanding those categories on how to respond in an effective way that really maintains your strength. So get those products below. I mean, those will really give you those references to really apply in your own life. And so with that, I'll get into this post. She says, boyfriend complimenting my female friend. So it's like, you just kind of have to use common sense with things like this. From a guy's standpoint, it's like if he's complimenting or this other woman, it's like, what's that going to make her feel? It's like, obviously it's going to make her feel like you're comparing her to this other woman. And so she's not going to feel totally special. And, she's not going to have a good emotional reaction. It's not going to really build the relationship up. So I'll get into it. I've been in a relationship for a year now. We both are in our late 20s. A few weeks ago, I introduced my boyfriend to a friend who is very pretty and attractive, outgoing, flirty, and chatty. And so it's like, it just, if you are complimenting this other woman, it's just like, just makes her feel like she's not good enough kind of deal. And it's, not a good way to go. Um, I didn't like her so much, but I met her for a drink that day because all the other people in the group kind of canceled at the end. Especially someone that she doesn't like, or she's maybe comparing herself to her a little bit. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just a common sense thing. It's like, don't compare her to other people, and when you are complimenting her or even like saying bad things about other women, she might translate that over to maybe behind your back you're saying bad things about her. So it's like, well, I might just stop it there and just say, hey, it's like, do your best not to praise other women as far as like compliments, especially in a way that can be conveyed in like this comparison thing when you know that maybe she has some kind of comparison herself to this woman. And then also just don't compare or don't bring down other women and be negative towards other women, because she's going to be thinking, maybe he's talking about that behind my back again, so yeah.